Do you press it or? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our presentation, Networking to Get Jobs. We want to welcome you back to our Goodwill Columbus Workforce Development Facebook page and YouTube pages. We are simultaneously broadcasting on both channels. And today we're going to be talking about networking to get jobs. So let's get started. So what is networking exactly? The definition for networking is, uh-oh, our slides are out of control. Hold on one second. All right. So networking is the development and maintenance of mutually valuable relationships. Do you hear those keywords there that are bolded? Development, maintenance, and mutually valuable. In order to develop a relationship, it's not about just meeting someone in a happenstance and introduce yourself and then go on about your way. It takes time to develop relationships. It's not a one-time occurrence. So in order to develop and maintain, you're going to have to put some effort for it. But the third part is that these relationships need to be mutually valuable. It's not just centered on you and what you need, but look at relationships where you can help one another, especially on this career path. And there's several ways that you can go about doing that. You could get involved in clubs, different interest groups. You know, if you are a knitter and you love knitting, there are knitting groups that you can join. And guess what? All sorts of people that work in all types of industries, they may be in that room with you knitting. And you may find that because you all have connected in one way, that someone may be willing and available to develop and maintain a relationship with them because maybe you can help one another in your career path. So there are a lot of ways of looking at it. I always give the example too, if you hear people say there are more deals made on the golf course than in the boardroom. And that's because those gentlemen or ladies get together and they enjoy golfing. And so they have a mutual valuable relationship and they love what they do, and you may find that deals are struck in those moments. So find interest groups that benefit you. Now, why am I focusing so much on networking? Well, because in order to get a job, especially at a time like this, where we have 40 million people who have just applied for unemployment in the last 2 months, that's a lot of people to compete with. So when you apply for a job, there's no guarantee that even though you may have the best qualifications, you may have the most beautiful resume, it doesn't mean that the recruiter will even see it, because there will be potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of people applying for that same job. So how do you stand out? By networking. Networking is the number one way to get a job. In fact, over 60% of jobs that are obtained are done through networking. So if you can find someone you know who works for that company, or maybe someone you know who knows someone, hello, you don't have to know everybody. You just need to know somebody who knows somebody. Sometimes just to get your foot in the door. That's not going to help you keep the job. It may not even land the job for you, but it definitely gives you an opportunity to be on the playing field so that you have a chance. So let's talk about building a brand first and foremost. So when we talk about a brand, I usually ask people, what brands do you enjoy the most? You know, is it Kellogg? Is it Nike? Is it Victoria's Secret? Whatever that brand is, you love that brand because of the quality, the consistency, probably because you always know what you're going to get. And the one thing that I love the most is that, you know, when people make mistakes, the way that they go about resolving that mistake is key. And sometimes we can see that in the brands that we choose, the people that we choose to do business with. Look, these companies are all run by flawed human beings. So there will be mistakes, but it's all about how you correct it. And so the brands that I choose, they've made mistakes at times, but they've corrected it. Think about what your brand is. You know, each of us have a brand as well. I'm a learning and development professional. I have nearly 20 years of experience in training and development. I've trained all over the world, trained people of all nationalities, thousands of people, in fact. And that's my brand. I like to be consistent in what I deliver. I'm a professional. I'm a trainer. I love to help people grow and develop. That's my brand. What's your brand? See, your brand doesn't change based upon where you go to work. You are always going to be you, representing yourself. And when you walk into the room of an interview, or you are in one of those interest groups and meeting new people and trying to develop those mutually valuable relationships, the first thing that they're going to check out is, what is her brand? What is your brand, sir? What are you giving off? Are you showing that you are a professional? Does your resume look professional, free of typos, clear about what it is that you've accomplished and what it is that you want to do? All of those things make up your brand, as well as how you go about introducing yourself, much like what we call an elevator pitch. We'll talk about that later. But let's move on. So the next thing we want to talk about is connecting. Well, when do you start connecting? You start connecting right now, and you use whatever contacts that you have already. So use whatever contacts you have to learn of prospective openings and work at developing new contacts. You can do that all sorts of ways. You can do that, of course, when you meet people. You can do that by researching online. You could even join LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, it's much like a Facebook page for professionals. That's a great way to make connections. And you can even search for people that are in your same field or in the same type of role that you have. So keep that in mind. Employees may often hear of job openings within their company before the job is even posted anywhere. Now, we all know that that's true, right? I bet you've worked somewhere before and you knew of a job that hadn't been posted but was going to come available soon. As a matter of fact, you may want to consider the fact that there are times when you've known people were going to put in their 2 weeks notice and no one knew that but you. So connect with people, start talking, let people know what you're interested in and what it is that you're trying to achieve. And you'd be surprised as to what can come out of that. So, and last thing, it says job seekers may approach the company at just the right time through cold calling. So what's cold calling? That's when you reach out to a company. You don't have any warm leads at all. You may not know of anything that's open, but you know that you want to work for that company. So you may want to go out and reach out to them, try to find out what openings are available, introduce yourself, and do it in a professional way so that they remember you and how you presented yourself. You may find that you can get information as to who the hiring managers are or who the recruiter is for that particular role, and you can make that connection right then and there. But you got to be ready. So we'll talk about how you do that. So again, cold calling, when you do that, you want to call and verify the name and title of the person in the company who might be able to hire you. And this could be a HR manager or recruiter, or it might even be the owner of the company. So you'll want to be able to inquire about a specific job role. Some organizations have multiple HR managers who specialize in specific departments. So for instance, if you take a company like L Brands, or the Limited, which most of you know them as, you will find that they don't just have one recruiter that recruits for all of the stores and all of the roles within the organization. They probably have several for each and every position that they're hiring for. So it's up to you to do the research. You can do that through cold calling, or you can do that by searching on the internet, maybe just Googling it. Or you can just go out to LinkedIn and you may be able to identify some really key individuals that can help you with this process. All right, so when you call, you want to make sure that you have a script that's ready. And you might have a script that says something like, hello, this is Valerie, and I got your name by going out on LinkedIn. I'm very interested in a learning and development training position. Who would be in charge of that department? So that little script, being able to insert your name and having it ready, shows that you're not rambling. You're very clear about what it is that you're trying to identify and what you need. and you'll want to use this script. And it doesn't take any more than a minute or two. So create a script for yourself. All right. Now, when should you cold call? Let's think about that. When you are dealing with busy professionals, and most likely the people that you'll be contacting will be very busy, you'll have to remember that they're probably in a lot of meetings all the time. So you want to catch them at just the right time. I suggest that when you reach out to individuals, you'll want to call them 5 to 7 times if necessary. I know that sounds like a lot, but I don't mean 5 to 7 times in the same day. I'm talking about 5 to 7 times over a course of 5 to 7 days. So if you were to call today, call first thing in the morning. Call at 8:30 in the morning. Typically when people, especially busy professionals, when they come into the office, first thing they're going to do is catch up on their voicemails and their emails. Then they're probably off on their way to the next appointment or meeting. So call them at 8 in the morning. And if you don't catch them then, call them tomorrow right around lunchtime, because that's typically what happens too. They go to their meetings, they come back, they check in once again before they go to lunch. If you don't catch them then tomorrow, call them right after lunch. The next day, call them at the end of day. Again, busy people, they will check back in at the end of the day, look at their messages, and then decide whether or not they're going to respond. But I suggest you reach out anyway, because you may just catch them in the office. So today you call them in the morning, tomorrow you call them at lunch, the next day at the end of the day, and you continue that rotation until you get a call back up to 5 to 7 times. But guess what? I doubt very seriously that you'll have to call them 5 to 7 times before they call you back. If nothing else, they're going to call you back, so you stop leaving all those messages on their voicemail. So just go ahead and continue to call and trust the process, all right? Okay. Now, you may come across some roadblocks. Those roadblocks we like to refer to as gatekeepers. And those gatekeepers might be a receptionist, an executive assistant, could even be security. But you'll want to make sure that your professionalism is the same with them as it is with the person that you are hoping that you'll meet with to hire you. So you may get messages like, "I'm sorry, we aren't hiring right now." Well, if you get that message, you might want to say something like, "I understand, but I would still like to send my resume for future consideration. Is that all right?" And then when you do that, you'll want to gather the person's name, the date, the person you spoke to, their email address and phone number, and then always thank the person as well. Now, you're keeping all that data because you may come across a time, maybe 2 months from now, when that position that you were looking for is actually open. And you can call back and bring to their memory the person that you spoke to, the date that you called, who you spoke to, and what you were inquiring about at the time. You never know, you may have left a good impression. And the fact that you're calling back with such detailed information shows that you're organized and you are really serious about this job. So those are things to consider. Recognize that they're doing their job because they want to make sure that their boss isn't going to be bogged down with unnecessary people trying to get their attention. So you'll want to make the best impression with them so that you can make an impact and get to the person that really can hire you. All right. So make sure if you don't speak to someone when you're calling and you're doing that on a day-to-day basis, you'll want to leave a message, try to schedule an interview if you do get somebody on the phone, and get the organization's website and make sure you research. Do that research before you even make the call, because you may never know that they may actually direct you to the actual hiring person, and that person may do a little mini screening right then and there and ask you how much you know about the company. You'll want to be able to say something that's valuable. Now, if you want more information about our certification programs or how you can get assistance with finding jobs, I want you to contact our career development department. And the link is right here on the slide for you. Please take that down. And when this training is done, you can always go back because the video will be saved on these sites on YouTube and on Facebook, and you can go back and jot down that link. But make sure that you check us out if you need any assistance. All right, and then also Each day, you should have a goal for the number of calls that you want to make and the number of appointments that you'd like to schedule. You want to set goals for yourself. A lot of times when we set goals, it's a motivator to actually get something accomplished. So again, follow up, return your calls, and call again and again and again until you accomplish your goal. All right. Now, there are a few reasons why networking doesn't always come easy to people, and a lot of times it has to do with fear of meeting new people and not really knowing what to expect. Sometimes because people have different personality types than we do, that can sometimes cause us to be hesitant. Sometimes because we're in unfamiliar territory or just because we're getting started and we don't know how. Look, you need to jump out there and just try. What can it hurt? If you don't take the initiative to meet someone right off the bat, you lose an opportunity and you can't always get that opportunity back. So just take a chance on yourself. If you're fearful, walk in your fear and do it anyway. And if you learn that people have different personality types and you don't know how to connect with them, trust me, we can help you with that too. We have some trainings. Look for our communication, our basic communication classes that we have right out here on these pages. And you can go back and check those out. We can help you with that. Some other helpful hints is to practice with friends on introducing yourself and talking about your skills or your interests and your experiences. And make up your mind to meet new people. And remember, you have to stay in touch. It can't just be a one-time occurrence when you meet someone and introduce yourself. You've got to be able to take the time to develop the relationship. And that doesn't mean that you call them every day or every week or even every month. Maybe it's someone that you reach out to, special occasions, holidays. Maybe you send them a little note every quarter just to check in to see how things are going. You never know what can come out of those relationships, and you won't know unless you try. All right. So that's our presentation for now. Later today, I'm going to talk to you about the best way to go about introducing yourself and what we call the elevator pitch. So at 2 o'clock today, please join us back again here at 2 o'clock on Facebook as well as YouTube, and I'll be talking about the elevator pitch. And that's the way that you go about and you share your brand, the brand that we were talking about earlier today. And then also, if you are in need of a resume or you want someone to look and critique the resume that you have, we have a partnership with Indeed. And right now we are offering free resume consultations to anybody. So if you are interested, please check this link out right here on the screen and schedule an appointment right now. We are doing this for the next couple of weeks. And I think you need to get in now because, again, we want to make sure that we're making the best first impression. And that first impression is probably going to be that resume before they even meet you. So we want that to be impeccable. All right. So with that said, also, I want to thank our moderator in the chat. And I apologize, I didn't introduce you, Victor, but thank you for all of your hard work. And he's been helping me with the technology today with the slides as well. So I want to thank you guys for joining us. We look forward to having you back at 2 o'clock. Make sure you check the links that are in the chat as well. So if you need help with career development, with resume consultation, we're here to help. And we'll see you back at 2 o'clock. Thank you guys. Bye.